Hi, Monika. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, friends, we have Monika here. So, let me brief you guys a little bit about it, though we'll know more about her from her own words. So, Monika has dedicated over 20 years to work and study in the field of psychology, clinical therapy, human behavior, and peak performance. She's passionate about helping people free themselves from pain and suffering so they can live fulfilled and empowered life. With 16 years, Monica has worked with some of the Australia's most marginalized individuals in the social welfare sector and in private practice. So there's lot. Her credentials are huge, friends. So I'm just trying to reduce it. So she runs her own clinic, and then she is author. She's counselor for travel counselors, supporting franchises CEOs by providing business counseling, therapeutic interventions for productivity. Monica led the Ascendant Chamber of the Heart Centered Network. And friends, one of my major interests for this interview is to um, eliminate the misconceptions about what anxiety, about this quick fix, and to understand what exactly is anxiety all about. So let us know more about this from Monica's words. So Monica, how did you get into this field of psychology?
Well, look, from a very young age, I think I was about 15, where I was drawn to this field of psychology. I really wanted to understand, why do people do what they do, right?
Why do people do what they do?
What do they do, and why do people do bad things as well?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, we're all born, into this world. And at some point in time, our behaviors really change from what is predictable in that infancy to maturing into our own person. And really it's kind of like a tree. We're very diverse, from each and every person, across cultures, and even within families,
Yes.
right? And I really wanted to understand that, like, why do kids act like that? Why do parents act like that? Why do people who've experienced certain things have these kinds and types of behaviors? So that really drew me to that field of psychology. And going through the training and my university degree, I realized that it wasn't really a psychologist that I wanted to be. I really wanted to help people who were struggling with multiple and complex issues, and help them with all of that. So that was really why I was drawn to the area of social work, and and helping people with multiple and complex needs. So people who are experiencing domestic violence,
Hmm.
alcohol and drug abuse, mental health issues, who are sleeping rough, so who are homeless, and who choose to remain homeless as well. And so, many issues, worked out at the prison for a little while as well, helping women integrate back into society after they're finished a sentence or a correction order. And that provided me with a real wealth of knowledge and insight as to how bad life can really get for some people, but also, how to actually go about undoing some of those challenges as well. And that really spurred me to, to open up my own clinic and to do further training in, hypnosis and NLP and all these wonderful modalities. So that was really kind of like the background that led to, to my work now, within anxiety.
Yes, you have such a wealth of experience, Monica. And
Yeah.
so,
Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that, so I
yeah,
still feel like I'm learning. Yeah.
still, yeah. Yeah, this field is like this, that we want to know more and learn more. There is always evolving. That's the beauty. And Monika, I'm really sorry to ask you a very basic question. What is your
Oh,
definition of anxiety? Because the reason is asking is everyone says, I'm feeling anxiety. I have anxiety. I Googled and I found out that I have anxiety. So self-diagnosis is happening.
yeah.
So can you please help our audience to understand what does anxiety mean?
Well, anxiety, actually, there is a definition, and the DSM-5 lists that definition if you want to Google that. So that is like the medical classification. So I mean, that's what we all kind of have to go by, really, because there is a classification for it, and there are different types of anxieties within that classification, including generalized and panic, and then there's phobias. Post-traumatic stress disorder and OCD have now been moved to a different chapter, but they have elements of anxiety, strong anxiety, and there's also that social phobia as well. But I think the confusion lies there is that when from that kind of diagnostic tool, there's a whole list of things, like shaky hands, feeling sick in the stomach, and rapid breathing, and feeling really unsettled. Sometimes people feel like they're a bit foggy in the head. Others might get a sense of like vertigo or feel like they're going to pass out. I think the misconception there is that if we have one or two of those symptoms, then it's anxiety. I think that's where the common misconception is that if somebody upset you and you start feeling like, I really didn't like what that person said, and you're sensing your body that's anxiety. So I think anxiety's replaced the word stress in a lot of our kind of day-to-day discussions. Yes. Stress was the buzzword. And I remember, hearing about it more and more as I grew up in the 80s as well, 80s and 90s, and I'm so stressed, and stress work, and stress. Now it's anxiety. Yeah, had so much anxiety today. But that shouldn't, and I think that shouldn't kind of take away from those who are experiencing anxiety from all different kind of levels, yeah, and who are wanting to actually address that anxiety at all different levels. So one of the first things that we do, in my clinic is actually take a real kind of inventory about, what is it that is anxiety for you, and how does it come up, and what are those feelings and sensations and things like that. So, the majority of the clients that I do see have struggled and are struggling with anxiety, and usually I'm not the first point of call. So usually they've either had medication, or they've tried traditional kind of talk therapy, but they're still feeling that very physical sense of anxiety, and accompanying rumination as well. And so, so by the time someone gets to me, they've already been through the ringer. They've already been through a number of different channels, because let's be honest, hypnotherapy is it's not the first choice for people. It's not top of mind. A lot of people don't know what it is, and can you actually relieve anxiety with hypnosis? That's interesting. Are you going to am I going to be clucking like a chicken? People still ask that. Are you going to bring out the pocket watch? Well, no, I don't own one.
Are you going to find out all my secrets?
Yeah. Are you going to control my mind?
Yeah.
And look, given what is presented on TV, I can understand the misconception, but stage hypnosis is very different to hypnotherapy, which is used in a therapeutic context, and therapeutic environment. So I'm not sure if I've answered your question.
So Thank you for clarifying what anxiety means, Monika. And my next question is like, I see certain advertisements like, you don't have to go to a therapist, or you just they just keep on prolonging, and this that this is our
Mm.
quick fix. This is our magic pill.
Yeah,
Just one session, two sessions, you are out of anxiety. Doesn't matter how many years you have been carrying from and all that. And unfortunately, these people are from non-therapeutic background as well.
yeah.
And so could you please share like about the quick fix or magical pill based advertisements? What is your advice to audience?
Look, to be honest, some of those methods do have merit.
Mhm.
Some of them do have merit. Um, if you think about, a meditation off YouTube, like for 45 minutes, it's nice. Some music, you've got some guidance, you find a nice relaxing spot, and that can be enough for some individuals to feel calm, relaxed, and enough to kind of gather their thoughts to get on with their day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Some of the apps like Calm app, and other kinds of meditation apps, they all have merit. I think that they have merit for helping people day to day,
Hmm.
feel a little bit of release or get into a space of calmness. And I think they are great for maintenance. I highly recommend them for maintenance. I think the difference is that when someone has a version of anxiety that can be considered like clinical anxiety in terms of the criteria, of the DSM-5, which there are multiple and frequent symptoms of anxiety. As a therapist, I've got to say, hey, there is a limit to the quick fix. There is a limit to that YouTube meditation, and I encourage them to seek out what are the other means and methods that you can actually get some assistance, because within yourself you will see that there is a limit to how well that will work. But go and try it.
Why
Right?
not? Yeah.
Go and try it. Go and try it. I think there is a danger with, I guess, the advertising part of advertising services, that yes, I can get rid of anxiety just like that. But I'm not in that world and in that field, and I guess that's in some way that's for them to deal with and not me. I stick to what I'm doing,
Yes.
and the way that I do things is that I look at the whole picture, not just this one thing, because when I do a consultation with someone, the first thing that they might say is, okay, so look, I've got a phobia, I've got to say a needle phobia. That seems to be coming up a lot lately, or a driving phobia, or and even though that might be the thing that they come to therapy for, there'll be other telltale signs that it's a little bit more complex. Like there was this thing that happened in childhood. When I still think about it, I still get nervous. Yeah. Or I've got a really stressful job, and I just don't know where it's going to end. I just feel helpless. Yeah. Or my family just doesn't get me. They don't understand what I'm going through, and they tell me that I should just get over it, and I'm overreacting, but I can't help it. So through the process of speaking with a therapist can actually help you unpack some of those things, but also connect the dots for you in terms of, well, how did you get to this point where you're scratching your head going, how did I get here? Like, where did this driving phobia, it just came up overnight. Like suddenly I get the shakes when I'm driving over the bridge. I've been driving for 30 years, you know. So I think that's the value that a therapist can bring in terms of helping you connect the dots, and then coming up with a plan together in terms of what, you know, what is it in terms of outcomes that you want, and how are we actually going to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you happy to be kind of like, oh yeah, that's there, but don't worry about it too much. And what's the thing that you're like, you know what, I've really got to address this right now. You know, this is really pertinent to my life. This is really important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was this very interesting case, Monika, which I could never forget, because there was this inquiry. This person with anxiety was anxious about how many number of sessions, because, you know, can we fix this quickly so that I'm out of it. So since you are dealing and you specialize with this anxiety related cases, so how do you deal, like you know, on an average, people would ask like, how many number of sessions would it take?
Yeah.
How quickly can it be fixed? How soon will I get better? So what is your answer for this?
And I say, how long is a piece of string?
How long is?
Right? How long is a piece of string?
Okay.
Okay. So how I answer that and how I deal with that is that I look at, you know, what are the actual concerning things for the individual, right? So for instance, if we take the needle phobia case, that could be a one session thing.
Yes, I agree.
It could be, you know, nail biting, one session, that quite easily. However, if the individual wants to address all of these other issues that have contributed to that, you know, and that are kind of in the background as well, and that are playing effect, then naturally it's going to take more sessions. Yeah, because the individual needs to have that kind of transformation, yes, but then they need to take that transformation out into the real world and see that it's working for themselves. Yeah. And the way that I work is holistically. So we don't just look at one thing, we look at the whole person. So you know, in the book, the Anxiety Relief Handbook, I speak about the 4 doors to anxiety, where, you know, there are multiple and different ways where anxiety can actually arise.
Okay.
You know, there's the environment, in terms of, you know, the people that you hang out with, you know, family, friends. There's your work environment. There's the environment in terms of toxins as well, the air that you breathe, and conditions. You know, where I'm in Melbourne at the moment, we're in lockdown. Yeah,
and it may trigger anxiety.
Right. So there's those environmental impositions that come in. So that's one door. Another door is the physical door, in terms of your physical self. So, you know, if you drink 6 coffees a day, there is going to be an outcome, and that outcome is going to, you know, be similar to someone who has jitters from anxiety. You know, if you can't metabolize that coffee. Yeah. Alcohol is a big contributor too. Alcohol and caffeine. Sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, you tend to feel more anxious the next day. You know, water intake as well. This is the thing. People who experience anxiety aspirate more fluid, aspirate more, you know, more water from their body. So they need to drink more. If you're dehydrated, there's a whole lot of body issues that are going on from dehydration. Sugar, like the list goes on. Yeah. If you've got low blood sugar, you know, I've had this before, and I'm like, I'm getting irritable, I'm getting sweaty palms, but I recognize that it's low blood sugar, so I'll go and eat something. But if you didn't know that, you'd think, what's happening to me? sugar intolerance, carbohydrate intolerance can produce like a heart, a regular heartbeat. If you didn't know that, you go, oh, what's happening to my heart? Am I having a panic attack? Oh my goodness, it's coming. Jeez, I've never had a panic attack. What do I do? And then suddenly your psychology kicks in, which is the third door, and exacerbates everything. Listening to other people's opinions as well on what you should do. Yeah. And influences, what's wrong with you? Get over it. Oh, what's up with, yeah. And the most often overlooked is the spiritual door of anxiety. Mm-hmm. So the spiritual door, yes, may include, spiritual connection and religion and all of that, but not necessarily. The spiritual door is you as a spirit. The things that aren't tangible, the things that you can't, that you can't touch, but are there. So, what are those things that actually make you happy that aren't within reach right now? Yeah. What is it that you feel like is your purpose? What is your intuition telling you to stay away from, that dangerous person over there? But you keep going, oh no, that's all right. Shut up, intuition. What do you know? Yeah. And then you feel anxious around this person. And you're getting those signs to say, no, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be talking to them. They're no good for you. So there are all these different elements of how one can become anxious and increase anxiety and anxiety symptoms. And the way that you where you kind of fit in those boxes, in those doors, will also give you the sign as to how to actually get out of anxiety as well. So one of the common things that I see now in therapy is this illusion, right, that someone can just talk themselves out of a panic attack. Oh, just tell yourself it's not real, it's not happening, or whatever. I don't buy that at all. Once the panic attack has happened, like the horse has bolted. Like you just have to wait till it comes back. Yeah. Oh, anxiety is just imagining something going wrong. Well, that's one small component in the psychological, when you enter through the psychological door, if you think about something going wrong in the future. But what about those with generalized anxiety? They just feel it all the time. Like, what do you put it down to then? They don't know. So, so my approach is looking at, well, where does the anxiety lie? Because that's going to give us an indication of actually how to resolve it from that level. So there's no point in using a talk technique, yeah, which is all cognitive based.
Cognitive based, yes.
Right? If the problem is in the subconscious and in the body. It's just that it's like talking German when you go to Italy. It's a language, but it's just not the right one.
Yes, not helping.
Yeah. So yeah, my philosophy is look at where it's coming from and address it where it lies. Yes. And also get to the bottom, contributing factors. And work strategically. It's not all about talk therapy. Look, it's not all about hypnotherapy either. There's a lot of other strategy and tools that I use to help individuals, get relief from anxiety. And it really is about mapping out what's happening for them, what door are they entering, and how can you actually mitigate some of that. A lot of it's education.
So
yeah,
it's not about quick fix, it's about understanding and then taking help to fix the right way.
quick fix is marketing. Understanding the person where they are, that's care. That's compassion. That's helpful.
And Monika, how far do you think that a combination of psychiatric medication and help of a therapist works well in certain cases? Do you think it
Yeah,
also is required?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, initially I was very anti-medications. I was like, no, it's natural. Everything's natural, you know? Yeah. You know, and for some individuals, that only gets them so far. Particularly, you know, I've seen in my career a lot of severe cases. Like I've seen, you know, individuals who have had such trauma throughout their whole life, at every stage of their life, that no amount of therapy, right, is going to undo all of that trauma. There's, you know, that they're just so down and distraught and feel helpless. And you know, and you know, early childhood trauma can manifest to other significant you know, mental health conditions as well. You know, so it when it manifests and it manifests to other conditions, you know, that's when you kind of have to look to the psychiatrists and, you know, and GPs and other mental health professionals to find you know, an approach for them, which may include medication. If someone is experiencing psychosis, what other option have we got here? They need to be on medication. If they're a danger to themselves or others, yeah, then that is that's very much a suitable option. In terms of, you know, obsessive compulsive disorder as well, you know, that is slightly different from, you know, your generalized anxiety and yeah, and your social phobias and things like that. And that's worth exploring too, in terms of what kind of help, in terms of supplements or medications, might be able to mitigate some of that. You know, I've spoken to people who, it's like they've been struggling with it for like, you know, 20 or 30 years, and just get trapped into these loops of counting and repetition, you know, for hours and hours per day, and it's exhausting. True. And so, you know, and so why wouldn't you explore that option? Explore every option that's available to you.
Is good.
Yeah, so that's my opinion now, whatever works. But in also saying that, you know, there are options to look at for those who don't want to go on medication as well. That is something that we as professionals have to respect and not force or, you know, coerce. So I always take the approach of like, it is a very individual choice. I say like, that's a very personal choice. Yes. You know, chat to the GP, chat to the nutritionist, chat to the naturopath, and take on board and you know, and become really you know, well versed in what is available to you. And then you can make an informed choice, or you can try out a few things. I don't think, yeah, we can't take this yes or no approach. I think it's a very personal approach. And as a professional, as a therapist, there's no way ever that I would you know, attempt to make that decision for anyone. It's very, very personal. Even those in the most, that look like they're in the most dire of situations. Yeah.
And since you brought this 4-dose topic and slightly mentioned about your workbook for anxiety, so could you please tell me more, like what inspired you to create altogether a workbook? And
yeah, so the Anxiety Relief Handbook is a compilation of various different complementary therapies. Because, you know, what I was seeing was, the only option for anxiety is talk therapy and medication. So talk therapy, medication. That's all I was kind of, you know, when I was speaking with clients, they go, oh yeah, my doctor wanted to put me on medication, you know, and they sent me, you know, to a counselor or a psychologist. And you know, you're going to your GP and you know, talking with them about the options and getting a referral is a really good first step. Yeah, it's a really good first step, and it's good to try. However, you know, in Australia, approximately 2 million people are experiencing anxiety, and I would, you know, and they're kind of outdated figures, right?
I need to search what it could be in India.
Right? Yeah. And so, you know, the way that I think is that, you know, for all of those people, how can, for 100% of those people, those two options work and be suitable? For a lot of them that will be, but for 100% of them, I can't confidently say yes.
Yes.
Because there are those individuals that go, no, I'm not taking medication. And there are those individuals who are like, you know what, I don't want to keep talking about my problems.
Yeah. Yes.
Or you know, I've been going for 2-3 years and I understand anxiety, but I still feel it. So what next? Yeah. So I was inspired to bring together and pull together the wealth of knowledge and resources that are available, that are there, that do work, from a team of professionals, of, you know, heart-centered, beautiful ladies who are really good at what they do, who are passionate at what they do, and passionate about helping people in this field. And so every person wrote a chapter on their modality, and the criteria was you have to be able to teach people how to find relief from anxiety. Okay. So, you know, in my section, you know, I you know, provide tools and tips for self hypnosis, and you can download an audio as well to listen to. Okay. And so many of the other the complementary therapists have also got guides like that. So Gail, for instance, who's an EFT specialist and a hypnotherapist as well, she takes you through and teaches you EFT for anxiety, what to say, what points to hit, yeah, and how to actually do it. Donna's a holistic coach, holistic coach and counsellor, and she's got a jam-packed chapter in there. There's so many resources, you know, in there for you to work through, to understand, you know, to jot down and to, you know, really expand your awareness. So I'm really thankful that, you know, that we not only put this book together, but that so many professionals put their hand up and said, yeah, I actually want to be part of this. I've got something that works, something that I've been using with my clients, and professionals that have, you know, that have worked at their craft, worked and refined these techniques, and be willing to share it in a book as well. So, you know, I'm sure you've read those books. They talk about everything all around the topic, and then you're left with, well, how do I do it? Yeah. And so the criteria for this book was, you know, you've got to be able to teach the steps on how do, yeah, and how can an individual at home get relief from anxiety. Wonderful. Yeah.
So it is practically application-oriented book.
Absolutely.
Not just theory and how brain works and this.
Or else what's the point? Or else what's the point, you know?
Yeah. Why bring one more book which gives more information on what anxiety is all about? So what do I do with this book?
Yeah. You know, and again, you know, those clients that I speak to, some of them have been, you know, attending, you know, talk therapy sessions, and, you know, someone I spoke to had been attending for 5 years. Oh my God. Right, had 5 years of psychotherapy, and, you know, to hear that, I'm just like, oh wow, Like, but that's in the psychotherapy world, that's expected, that's done, you know, that's just a whole course of therapy. That's just the way that it goes. And so I was really happy to be able to take this individual through, you know, a course of therapy with me. And at the end, she didn't need any more.
Wow.
She didn't need any more. It was like, no, you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? And so over a period of, you know, a couple of months, she was able to step into herself and really make sense of what happened in the past, to get some really cool techniques to be able to address anxiety for herself when it arises, to be able to set appropriate boundaries with people, in her environment, so that she can become independent. Does she still have bad days sometimes? I reckon. Probably. Yes. I know I do. I've got my days, right? Yeah. But the difference is having a bad day and not knowing what to do, and then having a bad day and going, hey, hang on a second, I know what to do here. Or, you know what, I'm having a bad day, but I know tomorrow's going to be better. Yes. Yeah. So, so it's been a real journey. It's been a really good insight as to looking, you know, and speaking with the other professionals who collaborated on this book, and finding out, you know, well, what do they know, and what are their opinions, and, you know, what are their go-to methods. So it's been really lovely to be, you know, part of that tribe and part of that group that think holistically, and that are always striving to get those better results and better techniques, and faster and quicker, and share the message that there are actually so many tools and resources available to you, more than I can count on my fingers. You know.
Because people need solution also, Monika. Just educating. Yeah, okay, right now, okay, I understand what is this, what do I do? So thanks for that project.
Yeah. Thank you.
And next one is, like, you have your hypnotherapy program for anxiety relief, Monika. Could you please tell more about it?
Yeah. So I didn't just wake up and say, today I'm going to do anxiety. When I first started out in clinical practice, I worked with individuals to help them lose weight and become healthier. And what I noticed was that with the individuals that experienced anxiety, they didn't get the long-term results as my other clients.
Okay.
And I was like, what's going on here? You know, why is this group getting results, but this group isn't? And you know, I'm sure a lot of therapists can identify with that kind of frustration of, you know, you wanting to help but just not knowing how. And I kind of felt a little bit like that. And so I was like, no, I'm determined to find out what this is. I'm determined to find out, what's this anxiety and how does it come up, and why is it sabotaging my clients' results? It's, you know, it's not fair. Right. And in that, I, you know, obviously learnt more, I studied more, I applied more, and I got really good at it. Initially, I was a little bit scared of it, to be honest. Because it's like fear of the unknown. I was like, oh no, my anxious client is giving me anxiety.
Yeah.
What do I do here? But with more and more, you know, our clients do teach us a lot.
Yes.
It was about, you know, delivering this technique and that technique, and bringing in all of the training that I had, not just the hypnotherapy, not just this modality, not just that, bringing in everything to help explain what it is, how it comes up, what can be done, when, you know, how it's different for people who have got backgrounds of trauma as opposed to maybe situational anxiety, because those two things are different.
Yes.
And through that, I kind of developed a system. And so that system is it is a holistic system. So I don't do the one sessions. I take a full account of what the person, what the client is experiencing and how long they've been experiencing it for, and do take the time to listen to any background factors. And so once we've got that, then I create a therapeutic plan, which looks at getting to the source and the root issue, getting to the bottom of things, and then working towards relief. So with the case of trauma, usually it's a two-pronged approach. There's providing the individual with techniques and strategies they can use immediately to calm their body and to calm their mind, whilst working on that background stuff. Because that's obviously contributed, and that's bubbled up. That's contributed.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because the thing is that people don't want to spend 2 years, 3 years in therapy. Like, I don't know anyone who's gone, yeah, I'll sign up for that. No one. Maybe if you're doing a degree, you're happy to sign up for to do a degree, but to have to go week after week for years and years, no one wants that. And so, if you can provide those quick techniques and interventions that work, to provide that relief instantly, then they're going to be more willing to work on the background stuff that has bubbled up and contributed to. And so I don't think we can just separate. I don't think we just say, we'll just work on this, driving phobia, or we'll just work on this. For me, it's about holistically, or else it's, you can be playing that game of whack-a-mole, that game of whack-a-mole where the mole comes up and then you whack it, but then it comes up somewhere else and then you whack it, and then you're right. You could be in therapy forever doing that, because if you haven't resolved the core issue where it's all coming from, then the therapy could likely to extend, or the individual just gets disheartened and goes, oh, there's no help for me, this is always going to happen.
Excellent. That's a lovely system. So you are telling that you have built a system based on various observations and trainings, and you've studied your own clients, where what is working and what's not working. So instead of years of therapy, it has drastically come down. So just like what is the average number of weeks a person goes through, Monika?
So anyway, it's a good question. Good question. So anywhere between 6 and 12 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Far better than 2, 3 years, 5 years.
Absolutely. And that really is that equivalent to like a year or plus of kind of that traditional therapy.
Wow. That's fine. And what is the frequency of the session? Is it weekly, once or twice? Like how many times does meet you?
Look, typically it's weekly, but we start off with a double session so that we can really understand and get to the bottom of things and provide a strategy straight away. So it's good to get going and and unpack things, but then kind of to be able to move on and not keep talking about all the history and background.
Yes. And the beauty of the system, Monika, you are saying you're helping your clients to calm down first, physically and mentally, and also you're working on background stuff to address the root cause, and also the duration of the treatment has come down.
Yes.
Beautiful. an individual's progression, we will also then start looking
into the future in terms of what are the individual's goals. Now that they're free of anxiety, or now that they've reduced it enough that they're free enough to actually think about, well, what is it that they want? What's going to make their their soul sing, right? What is it that they really want to do, or that they didn't have the confidence to do, but now they have, now that they've got that freedom. And that's a real hard question for some of my clients to answer day one.
Yes.
Because I don't want to worry. I don't want to feel anxious anymore. I just don't want to feel like this. I don't want to be depressed. I just want to be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard for them to conceptualize what that might be for them. But after the process, and we do a lot of release work and things like that, they're feeling freer and lighter. And then they've got the time to kind of daydream a little bit and to get creative. As it's like, oh, now that I haven't got this, I think I'm going to give this a try. Maybe I can take that trip now.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So it's really beautiful to see them go from stuck and negative and down on themselves to, I've got so many opportunities in front of me. So it's a really beautiful thing to witness as a therapist, your client's transformation. Yeah.
So Monika, are you also teaching this system to other therapists, or like is just still using, or how, at what stage is it, like you're
Look, it's something that I have in mind to teach in the future. However, given that Melbourne is in the state of lockdown and COVID, I'm really booked out with client sessions at the moment. So I feel called right now to work with individuals one-on-one. And at some stage, yes, I will be rolling out more and more kind of training and guidance, and this is what's worked. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, right now I feel called to kind of work at the ground level with individuals to really help them through this time, because it is proving to be a very challenging time for some.
So true.
On top of already pre-existing challenges. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Monika, for I really got excited. Like why is it some therapists are taking years and some are providing only information, and it is good to know what are the latest developments and what therapists across the world are doing. So now there is goal also. A person, once they have relieved from their anxiety and now focusing on their goals, they are able to calm down. They are able to address the background stuff of the past, and that too with the less time. And there is no quick fix kind of thing. There is a beautiful system that has evolved out of experience. Such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and it's a system that's evolved from my experience.
Yes.
And I think I just want to acknowledge that every single therapy has merit. Yeah. Talk therapy does have merit for some individuals. Yes. And that's the only therapy that will choose to do. And like all the other therapies in the book, the Anxiety Relief Handbook, I think each individual therapy has its own merit. And individuals will be called to their own kind of, type of therapy. Everyone will choose something different, but I've just found that, hypnosis has been the cherry on the cake, so to speak, that has brought everything that I've learned together to work in a really seamless way to help people gain that relief.
Lovely. So, once again, thank you very much for sharing your experiences. These things bring hope to people who feel tired that there's nothing, I have to live with this anxiety forever, there's no solution. So this is where this type of interviews help people to find out, yes, hey, there are experts who specialize in these things, there's help available. Why not reach out to the genuine
Yeah,
sources, not the quick fix?
absolutely, absolutely. And if anyone would like to know a little bit more information, you can feel free to go to my website, www.hypnolab.com.au.
Yes, I'm going to provide your website details with YouTube description as well, Monika, so that whoever
Fantastic.
is watching this interview can reach out to Monika.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.